Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the I'll Try That podcast. This week, we are talking about one of the newest beers to have hit the UK by storm. It's Madri Excepcional. But first, Barber, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Fine. Bit shocked about Forest signing Jesse Lingard. I very much enjoyed, maybe news to the listeners, but I very much enjoyed despite being mature, sensible grown men, the three of us have actually done a little bit of gaming together recently, haven't we? I very much enjoyed having that back in my life. It makes me me almost, yearn for those heady days of being a 15-year-old, and I didn't have to go and, earn a crust every day. That's been very nice. Political climate here in the UK, well, let's not get into that.
No.
But so on the whole, I'd say I'm fair to middling. How are you?
On the
Joe?
whole.
You all right?
You're doing well, mate. Doing well. I mean, I think you've had a nice summary there. It's been a bit hot lately.
Yeah, it's been hot.
Let's put it that way.
That is true.
It's been a bit hot.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing for us in the UK right now. I mean, we know as Brits, we love to talk about the weather, and it's given us an extra reason to talk about the weather, how hot it's been lately. But, it's, nothing's going to change in the way that we deal with the heat. We're still just going to moan about it, but not change anything.
That's
so,
true.
let's just, we can just keep moving on. Rich, you started telling us a bit of a story about what you've been up to lately in the just before we started hitting record, and I had to stop you very early on to say save it to the listeners. So, do you mind picking up where you left off?
I do want to hear more about this.
Well, I've had a pretty exciting week, or couple of weeks, in all honesty.
I mean, when do you not have a pretty exciting?
Well, that's it. I've decided. Well, I decided I needed to expand my social circle. I have some very lovely friends here.
We won't take that personally.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Yeah,
it's okay. I've got a lovely group of friends here in Weymouth, sort of thing. But I've decided I needed to expand my social circle and maybe join a new club.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
So I know you're very adventurous. You do a lot of outdoorsy things. So is this like a mountain biking club, a sailing club, maybe something like that?
Dogging?
No, what?
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
me and Rolly the Greyhound haven't joined a dogging club.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, that's just what in my family we always used to call dog walking dogging. That's all it was. That's all.
No.
What did you guys think I meant?
Well, I've decided to go down a slightly different tack to my usual outdoor and adventurous, and I've joined a working men's club. I've joined the White Regis Social Club, which was only cost me £7 for the year, which I thought was pretty reasonable.
That's very as membership goes.
Yeah.
Membership dues go. That's pretty damn reasonable.
And
yeah.
so I was sitting around my friend's house. He lives 2 minutes down the road from White Regis Social Club, and we've been ever since he moved into the place. We've been talking about joining. I might have had a few beers and kind of maybe had a bit more Dutch courage than I normally would. 'Cause it's quite an intimidating environment to walk into, because I'll kind of set the scene. So it's a very nondescript white building,
Okay.
with kind of just White Regis Social Club over the top. And you walk, so you go through the front door, and you're met by a man sitting behind a plexiglass screen, sort of thing, that you have to sign in to get in, sort of thing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So like. But
Of course.
it's some old boy who's reading.
Oh, sorry, mate. Go on.
No, I'll just say some old boy reading the newspaper who just kind of grunts at you as you walk in, which is
Brilliant.
which is fun.
Which he'd probably come and slap you if you called him a receptionist.
Well, yeah, understandably, and also, I was with my friends. I don't think we're the kind of people they maybe see in a social, because I came in some very elaborate shirt, shall we say, which then
I can believe that.
my other friend came in tie-dye trousers.
Right.
And then my friend Nathan actually looked pretty conservative, in all honesty. He was just in a pink t-shirt. But as you go in, it's not, I don't think they're used to maybe all of these colours, and a man with such a moustache that I have. There were moustaches in there, sort of thing, but it was on men over the age of 60.
Yeah.
But genuinely,
yours, then.
yes, yeah. But it's a magical place. the White Regis Social Club. One, because pool is only 50p a game. Yeah,
that's a good.
Yeah, it has a Skittles alley,
That's pretty good.
Everyone loves sweets, don't
dartboard. Yeah, a dartboard, a meat raffle.
What do you mean a meat raffle? What's this?
Now I'm interested.
Yeah. Every Sunday. Yeah. So every Sunday you can pay £1 to get a strip of raffle tickets, and instead of like rubbish prizes that you'd get like some lavender scented dish soap and some talcum powder, the local butcher, they go and buy a load of meat and you get like 14 sausages. Like that's way
amazing.
Yeah, that's way more up my street. But
that's one of the best gifts I've heard if you're into meat, obviously.
14 sausages.
Yeah. But okay. But the best part about this is guess how much three double gin and tonics were.
Oh, you're going to say something?
3 doubles,
like,
wow.
3 double gin and tonics.
I mean, 20 quid?
£10. It cost us £10 for 3 double gin and tonics.
Wow.
Oh, that is deadly.
Wow. Yeah, it's a magical place, sort of thing.
And all
Rolly
for
the Greyhound really fits in.
£7 per year.
Oh, that's it, £7. Look, when you guys come down to Weymouth next, I'll take you as my guest.
We'll go.
Yeah.
So they're dog friendly as well?
Yeah, dog friendly. Everyone loves him because everyone keeps going, I bet I've lost some money on him because he's an ex-racing greyhound. And in all honesty, he's lovely.
Some good working men club banter, that one.
Yeah, but he was rubbish at racing, so they probably did lose some money on him. But yeah, it's a magical place, and if you have one near you should definitely join.
Now, can I raise so working men's club in the title? Does it live up to the name? Is it just men?
No. Basically, everybody is welcome to the social club.
I get what you mean about it's a bit intimidating that first go. I've actually only been into one once, because I needed to use the restroom in the States. And it was like, in the deep parts of Brooklyn. And they were super friendly, lovely gentlemen, very happy for me to go in and use the facilities, as it were. But yeah, I mean, I had to pluck up quite a bit of courage to go in there,
That's it. It was relatively daunting working it. It was one of those places where you walked in and everybody turned around and looked at you because we went in on a Saturday night, so it was relatively busy. And it was one of those scenes where it kind of all went slightly silent and everyone just turned to look, and we're just all standing there. We look incredibly out of place. I was in flip flops as well, sort of thing. Like it was a.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you'd have turned up in like a suit, they probably would have had less shock, I suppose. But
yeah.
That's a fun outfit.
Is there a membership badge, handshake?
So
but
we're still waiting on our little plastic card. But now we're recognised by the bar staff because I've been back probably about 8 times since joining.
That's great.
And
he only joined this morning.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's amazing.
You didn't quite describe it as such, but when you said about the chap reading the newspaper in the sort of lobby when he came in, I actually envisaged, Men in Black, when he goes in the first time, and he goes through the lift in the back to actually to see what it's actually like. That's exactly what I saw when you described it.
But it's really weird because it just kept going back. It's really long. It's the best way to describe it.
It's got to have a pool table, a darts board, a Skittles alley.
And
a meat raffle.
And a meat raffle, It's the main bit. We're going there on Sunday for the meat raffle, or specifically for the meat raffle, because I'm quite lucky at raffles. It seems to be the one thing I'm genuinely quite lucky at is raffles and tombolas. So it's.
What is the difference between a raffle and a tombola?
So a raffle is they pick the thing out of like a hat or a thing and then read it out. But a tombola, you've got one of those things that you have to crank.
Yeah,
a tombola.
That's cool. So that is the only difference. Is one is just randomly picked out, and one is randomly picked out of a tombola.
Raffles tend. There's not much of a difference, but raffles tend to have better prizes than tombolas.
Tombola is a bit more of a spectacle to watch because it's got the roly poly.
Clack, 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 clack.
Veg raffles never really took off, did they? I suppose.
No.
Veg raffles.
Nobody
wants a pound of sprouts.
You have made me
Well,
really
I mean,
want
actually,
lots of
in
sausages,
saying that, though, I've definitely been to a county fair or something where they had a raffle of loads of veg and things, and that was quite highly sought after. You prized marrow going out of the raffle.
Well, talking about veg, I'm genuinely excited for at the end of the summer they have the veg competition at the White Social Club, which the two categories are the biggest vegetable and the rudest looking vegetable. Those are the only two categories in the vegetable growing competition.
Imagine if one vegetable won both categories. That would be the dream, wouldn't it?
It's a double whammy.
Taking home the gold.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, you've got me curious about social clubs in my area now.
Yeah, you should join one.
Those prices can't be beat.
Well,
no, yeah.
If I'm honest, it's not the same thing. I didn't join any social club, but I did join a social. I joined a tennis. So I joined a squash club, and so some of the stuff that you're describing there, with the bar and the kind of the community spirit, definitely translates to this squash club as well. But I primarily joined for the squash and met people through that way. So it's more activity based, I suppose. Yeah. But the fact that you've got a bar that overlooks the courts is just like a really big bonus.
I like that. Yeah. This place is a bar that overlooks the Skittle Alley, which is nice. One thing I did learn. Have you guys ever heard of something called the Dorset flop?
Yes.
Yes, it's the high jump technique, isn't it?
That's the false flop.
There you go.
No. This is a Skittles move called the Dorset flop.
Yeah,
which is
I've
when
heard
they're
of it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so when they chuck the ball or bowl the ball down the Skittles alley, the whole manoeuvre basically involves them diving, belly flopping, and throwing the ball at the same time. And it's called the Dorset flop.
No, I'm going to have to Google this in a second because I've a video of someone doing this because it just sounds like they're falling over whilst throwing the ball down.
That's exactly what it looks like. But it's a genuine technique. And I can only think it came out of someone doing it by accident and then getting a strike.
So this is a legitimate manoeuvre in the game of Skittles. Are there people doing this at your gentleman's club?
I saw somebody do it at the thing. I was like, he was an old boy as well. He wasn't young.
Oh no, it takes years to practice the Dorset flop.
The Dorset flop. But yeah,
you don't want to be trying this until you're ready. It's like
you don't want to be Dorset flopping too young.
As exceptional as that was, thank you very much for sharing that story. Should we move on to something else that's become quite exceptional lately?
Oh, I like
Go on
that.
Then. Well, that was a transition.
Excepcionale. Something, maybe.
So is that how we're pronouncing it? Is that how we need to...
I don't know. That was hamming it up a little bit.
Give us your best Spanish take on this beer then, Rob.
Is always is there maybe a little bit of a excepcionale?
Yeah. No, I think you're right, because mainland Spain is whereas South American Spain, they don't do any of the
Yeah.
They just go like... Yeah. So, Madri Excepcional, if you're speaking Spanish, or
not.
or Madri Exceptional, if you're anglicising it, like we probably will be for the rest of this. So yeah, this beer has just come out of nowhere. I feel like
it's like Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
It's just...
Where did it go? I didn't need to explain that one, really, did I?
No, I like that you went into it. That's good. So that'll be having some people reminiscing of it. So yes, this is a Spanish beer that seems to have hit the UK. Pray tell anyone, where has it come from?
It's just blown up. It's everywhere here in my neck of the woods. And on tap. Obviously, we've got bottles for the purposes of this, but it's on tap everywhere. Loads of pubs, and it's stacked up next to all those. I think we've used the term macro beers before, like those ones that you see on pumps. That Stella, Moretti, everyone. That's not a good example, but Heineken, and
Moretti would be.
All of those that you see on your classic sort of bar selection and all your lagers. And Madri's just sort of taken pride of place in amongst them.
Well, it's the first time. It hasn't maybe not come all the way down to the south yet, as though because I've not seen it anywhere at all. It's the first time that I saw it, and it was in Tesco, but it stood out, which was the nice thing when I was looking at the list of stuff. I normally have to sit there for a while, kind of like looking up, and then maybe I have to Google the beer because there's so many different kinds.
Yeah.
But this one, I just looked up and I was like, "There it is."
That's interesting. I'd like to know what the pattern is, because I think I know there are other parts of the UK where, I mean, I was really keen that we talked about this one, because to me it's like we're talking about a real zeitgeist beer. It seems to be very much of the moment, but interesting to know you've not seen so much of it. I think maybe bits sort of slightly further north have got it as well. Joe, because you're more southeast, is it prevalent where you are?
It's in all the major supermarkets. So far, I haven't. I mean, also as well, I haven't been to too many bars as of late. With the added heat, we like to talk about the heat here, and
hot.
It's been quite hot, guys.
It's really hot.
So I've been keeping cool. Yeah, really hot. Yeah.
Too hot.
Needed a nice crisp Spanish lager to wash it all down.
As if you were in Madrid.
Madri, as the locals say.
Yeah. As the locals say.
Well, so that is apparently where Madri comes from.
Yeah,
apparently, that is how the locals say Madrid.
I wasn't sure if it was locals or old school way of saying it, but yeah, that's where the
quite
name
possibly.
comes from.
So in all the major supermarkets, which is why, and as you said, Rich, it caught my eye because it's got a very dapper gentleman on the front of it. Now, I actually he looks like almost like a Peaky Blinder of sorts, but that's doing him a disservice.
I was just going to say he looks like he's from the Peaky Blinders, but went to the wrong tailor. Or he's just joined and he's trying to make a statement.
Well, do you want to know the term for him?
Go. He's got a name, has he?
He is a chulapo, which is actually to do with, I believe it's a particular district, neighbourhood in Madrid it came out of the 19th century. Mm-hmm. Very sort of ostentatiously dressed, pretty dapper, pretty chic group of people that, just kind of part of Madrid's society back then. Very proud of their neighbourhood, and they used to just be real snappy dressers. The flat peak cap seems to be part of it, particularly the waistcoat as well. They seem to have, the bit I'm not completely clear on is they've got this quite cool, is it called like dogtooth style on his waistcoat, and actually on the bottle itself, that sort of black and white.
Yes.
They've done it in.
Is it dogtooth puppy? What's the difference between dogtooth puppy tooth? I guess it's a different style of like squared.
Yeah, I think that's
check,
the shape, isn't it? Maybe that is puppy tooth. Actually, that one I think. But
did you say it was Chapo or
Chulapo? So CHULAPO, and it's kind of almost a bit of a term now just for Madrid. Locals and natives.
I just googled it and clearly spelt it wrong because I just got the Mexican drug lord El Chapo, who's currently El Chapo, and I was like, well, I've definitely googled this wrong because if the beer's based off him,
they put a Mexican drug lord on all their packaging.
And then I was looking at the picture and then looking at the bloke on the bottom. I was like, was it a younger person? Was it a younger?
Yeah, well, no. So I think it's from the 19th century, basically, and just real elaborate dressers, cheeky types.
Okay, so this isn't like this depiction on the label that's using like the brand mascot, let's say, but it's basically like an emblem for them. This isn't anyone in particular. This is like a group of people, or like a way of being, a way of living, like a lifestyle almost.
Yeah, so I don't think that is a specific man. That's okay. I mean, I think that actually the founder, Carlos Garcia, I suppose you could say it does look a little bit like him, but because he's got the beard. Now he's a brewer ultimately. So
Carlos Garcia is actually, he runs this brewery, La Sagra Brewery.
Yeah.
Okay, they started up in 2011 in Toledo, which is obviously close to Madrid for any of you geography nerds out there.
Guilty.
However, the reason why this beer has exploded and why it's been created is actually because it's been a collaboration between this La Sagra brewery and Molson Coors.
They're quite big, Molson Coors, I hear.
Yeah, they've got their fingers in a few pies. So this beer actually didn't exist before 2018. So this beer
has
only been around for like a few years actually, and the whole reason it kind of came to the UK was because and this is a spokesperson for Molson Coors is saying that that basically it's taken the UK by storm since it launched because it's tapped into consumers' love for exciting premium New World beers.
Okay, yeah. So it is that it's premium, but it's also different. basically.
different.
So that's interesting because I said about that sort of typical, bar, that sort of arc where they've got all the taps on. You can totally see lots of people going, well, I always have Stella, I always have a San Miguel, or I always have a Heineken. And then Madri being up on there, and they go, well, let's give that a go.
Well, if I'm quite honest, this for me, it looks like the Spanish equivalent of Birra Moretti.
Yeah.
Like that Birra Moretti is growing in populace and popularity, sorry is the right word, in both because it's a premium New World lager. Again, guys, lager is back. So watch this space. So, this seems like a really smart marketing move, right? Putting this out there.
What other beer? There is another very popular Spanish beer that I think has been making quite tracks very well in England.
Was it
Estrella?
Estrella, yeah.
Oh, Estrella, or are you thinking of Mahou? That's the other one.
I was thinking of Estrella. I've not heard of Mahou.
Yeah. Thing is, what separates this from Estrella, apart from obviously they're both red, it's going to be price point. This one's going to be more like a premium New World lager, against Birra Moretti. I wouldn't put Estrella in the same category as Birra Moretti. I think Birra Moretti is a higher price point and a higher quality lager.
That's interesting.
I think Estrella is higher quality than Birra Moretti.
Interesting.
Would be my thing. I maybe it's just my taste preference, but I prefer Estrella over.
But I think you got to think it's rather than kind of the taste. I guess it's about Estrella has been around longer and it's more of a mass beer. Although it's only recently kind of coming into the UK in the last however many years, but it's everywhere in Spain. Whereas this is kind of riding on this kind of craft, lager, kind of it's on the back of it, back of that kind of the tail wagons of kind of it's a new brewery, they're doing something exciting.
But it's tagged in with Molson Coors, not Molson. Molson Coors.
Yeah,
it's not a small brewery, is it? They
no,
are.
totally not. And as we know, Birra Moretti is not a small brewery by stretch of imagination. It's part of the Heineken group, isn't it? Birra Moretti, I think we talked about.
Yes. Sorry, so my dog's just kicking himself in the face. It just took me by surprise. Don't do that, mate.
But you like the taste?
Yeah. I can't. I do like the taste.
It's the one is either perfectly drinkable. It is one. I don't know. Maybe it's the Funkerman at the moment. I think if you were to rack it up next to some of those others we've talked about, would I be able to pick it out blindfolded? I'm not so sure, but perfectly serviceable as a lager. What is it? 4.5%? I think
4.6%.
Yeah, there you go. So
a bit pokey.
Yeah, and not quite as much. Look at you using the word pokey, and it's not quite as strong as your Kronenberg 60 and 64s, is it? So
yeah, it's interesting. I think it's they've done a big push. They've won a World Beer Award in 2021. They got a silver medal for this lager. So it's obviously been rated quite highly by, those in the know about this stuff. And obviously it's being rated very highly by those really in the know, which is the consumers, because this thing has exploded. This beer is now in 7,500 pubs around the UK already. And that's just they're expecting to have done a massive push over the summer. This summer was what's year are we in? 2020. 22. Wow. So it's only been around for 18 months here in the UK. 2018 in its entirety is when it was born, but 2021 when it came here in the UK.
I can imagine there's going to be a big push at festivals because I feel it's light enough for it to kind of you could drink it all day, and you could. Yeah. I feel if you're drinking this chilled and stuff like that, I could see this being pushed at festivals and kind of promoted and everything like that because it is fun, it is cool. It's a cool brand, and I think it's gonna do well.
And it is being paired against Moretti. All of the comments about it on Twitter is all about, maybe this will knock Moretti off the summits, all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's who they're going up against. That's who they're facing. That's the target audience who drink Moretti. They're trying to get those peat drinkers to drink this beer as well. Those Carling fans probably won't pick this up, but they might do if they want something a bit more premium, let's say. And it's more readily available. It's more everywhere. But let's face it, they're going for people who are looking for that kind of more. They want a lager, but they won't pick up a Carling or a Foster's. Let's put it that way. That's the kind of the consumer group who are going for this Madri. And, I like it. I think it's a tasty beer. It's, it's nothing, it is exceptional by name. It's probably not exceptional by body and taste. It's a very good lager, but a light lager. It's more body to it than like a Budweiser does, I would say, if you're putting it into this kind of, it's not an American light lager like Budweiser, but if you're putting it, I keep going back to Moretti. It's quite like Moretti in taste, but I do feel, for me personally, I feel Moretti just ticks more of the boxes of the taste profile
I read
than this
I think
Madri.
they're billing themselves as a modern European beer. That's about right, isn't it?
Yeah.
When I would buy this beer was if it was, because I do like it, but I don't think I would actively go out and seek it at a supermarket. That's what that. But I would if it was on offer at a reasonable price. I'd be like, you know what, I enjoyed that, and I would buy that again. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you know,
I see what you're saying.
With the Molson Coors connection, do you know, I realised there's a garden, like a little park in Cheltenham where I live, and also I think I had a pint of it the other day because it was the only lager on tap. So to a certain extent, weirdly, and
wow.
that strikes me as a very odd scenario, but that's the penetration they've got, and that's probably the Molson Coors connection that's doing that, isn't it? So it helps to have a good distributor if you're a decent brewery, right?
Which is where Molson Coors step in. I mean, they're saying all over the website for Madri that it's brewed in the UK, and I found on this article that basically Molson Coors have said it's brewed everywhere. It's brewed through their network, which is quite ambiguous. Don't really know. Is it always going to be brewed in the UK? But it's basically brewed through the Molson Coors network, which obviously spreads globally. But you've got a provider here like and a company like Molson Coors, which could, in theory, pick this brand up and just push it into a market. And I think we're seeing that here in the UK, that this beer is getting heavily pushed right now in the UK market to get a bit of a foothold, to get consumers wanting it. I mean, they're doing so much fun stuff in marketing right now for this beer. I mean, looking through their Instagram, looking through Twitter, I haven't come across it in anything in real life yet, but there's some really fun stuff like murals they're getting painted. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen this huge growing trend of instead of billboards, they're like painted billboards. So like they've got that kind of like texture to it. And there's some big names out there already who are kind of specialize in basically painting on an ad, like what you'd see is normally a billboard, but onto a wall of a building. And so Madri have gone right into that as well, like physically painting one of their ads on there. It's really cool. It just adds an extra element to it,
I like that.
And it's still an ad. You're still like, oh my god, that's cool. But it's a painted ad, by Madri. Yeah.
Oh, decent. Well, what are they doing numbers wise?
So on Instagram they have 5k followers.
Yeah, it's early days, isn't it? Only been around
early doors, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's Twitter,
I guess
the Madri Cerveza, which is tipped to be the Madri Excepcional, apparently, has got 9 followers. I don't quite believe that. Maybe they joined in June 2022, so they've just created their Twitter
we should go
account.
Get hold of them and say, bet we can really increase your number of followers.
And we might have done. They might get an extra few. I'll try that list of followers from this episode. So there you go.
If we all start following them now, as in we three on this, that's an increase 33%. So.
Well, I can tell you right now that we are follower number 9 right now on their Twitter accounts. We were there. We were followers number 9 on the Madri Twitter account.
And we were there. Loved it. We were there from the start.
We were there from the start. So, summary, I guess, you'll see this more. UK listeners, world listeners, I'm sure they're going to come to a place near you very soon. They're coming because it's got backed by Molson Coors, and the huge success that this brand and beer is already seeing in the UK is only going to spur on Molson Coors to push it into so many more countries. I mean, the US, this is right for the US right now. You could just drop this in there and just put some spend behind it, and the people will go crazy for it, because that's exactly what's happened with Birra Moretti. That's exactly what happened with quite a few, world new premium lagers that have come out. So watch this space, basically.
Yeah. It's just dawned on me. No one's ever going to try that in a bar and go, I'm not having that. Are they? 'Cause it's really nice as well.
I hate it.
So they're onto a winner, I reckon.
Yeah.